Welcome to the funnel. My name is John Shea, and I'm president of Alignment Group. This is episode number 228 of the funnel. What sales motivation means and how to keep them motivated. That's a mouthful. Before we begin, I want to remind you to head on over to alignment-group.com/the funnel. You can go to the sales library or the podcast page. You can download the best of the funnel and insights. This is the first edition where we cover the 6-step hiring process. So it's all the information you need to review that entire process. There's 7 podcasts, so there's some written paragraphs on the podcast as well as links to them. And the 5 blogs that we did on the 6-step process. So it's all covered there. And depending on how this works, we're going to continue that process. So far, so good. We're getting a ton of downloads. Our agenda: motivation defined, changes, consistency, and coaching. So let's jump right into motivation defined. So I'm kind of basing this off of a lot of this off of the assessment that we use. So we track the motivation as part of the assessment, and there's a number of things that we track, and one of them obviously is the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. And I thought that I'd start with telling you what that looks like. So extrinsic motivation is pretty simple. It's when we or you are motivated to perform a behavior or engage in an activity that provides you with an award, and maybe to avoid the negative consequences of not doing that. For example, you get paid a high commission for hitting and overachieving quota, and if you don't do that, you lose your job. In essence, that's the explanation for extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation involves engaging in that behavior, achieving quota, or being successful in sales because it's personally rewarding. So they want to get better at what they do. They're performing that activity for the sake of that activity rather than the high commissions. Should they be paid? Yes. Before we even go down that road, people want to get paid for their job and they want to get paid handsomely. But there's different things that motivate them. And I want to clarify, because this is something that has come up before, the difference between motivation and desire, because our assessment looks at desire. And the desire is how badly someone wants to succeed or have that phenomenal success or great success. And what's behind that desire is the motivation, the intrinsic or extrinsic motivation. And the two go hand in hand, obviously, right? And on top of that, we look for commitment too. So it's pretty simple. You have extrinsic, intrinsic motivation. It's not really desire. The motivation is what's behind desire. And then ultimately how committed you are. So salespeople are motivated differently. Some are intrinsic, some are extrinsic. And so you need to understand how your team is motivated and how the individuals of those teams are motivated. And I'll say there's been some changes in the world today and how that happens. So my guess is the more senior level folks that have been around a long time are more extrinsically motivated. The commissions, the dollars, the money. What we're finding now is that as the years have gone on, sales reps are more intrinsically motivated. So the numbers have changed drastically over the last, say, 10 years, okay? I'd say, the vast majority of the sales reps moving into the marketplace today are motivated beyond the money. They want to get paid well, and they want to work for a good company with benefits because it's how we live our lives. It's how they can do the things they want to do personally or contribute or give back in the ways that they want to give back, is if they're compensated well for that. But they're more motivated by the intrinsic side of the job. What is it doing for them beyond the money? Are they developing and evolving in their craft and becoming the best that they can possibly be? There's a higher purpose to what they're doing. They're achieving something for the company, for the team, for themselves, and maybe the company's doing things that help give back. So the goal is more intrinsic versus extrinsic. And I would say there's probably a really good dividing line between people that have been around a long time selling versus some of the people that are just entering the sales workforce in the last 10 years. I don't have any specific data on that, but I'm sort of guessing at that, because as the years have gone on, there's been a huge shift in numbers away from the extrinsic and into the intrinsic. So I think that's very interesting in how that shift has occurred. Some might say, well, it's millennials. I think it's beyond that, just millennials. It's beyond the millennials a little bit more. I think even some of the previous folks are more intrinsic. I know from my experience in hiring and managing and developing salespeople that are in their mid-30s now. I don't know that we'd consider them at the very end, right before the beginning of millennials. They have some of this intrinsic motivation. Oh, they want to get paid, but they have to have a higher purpose. They want to get really good at their job. There are things that they want to do beyond just write me a check. So motivation is intrinsic, extrinsic. There's some desire and commitment behind that. There has been some shift, but understand how salespeople are motivated by one or the other, or maybe a combination of both. I don't think it's just black and white. I think, like I said, they want to get paid, but they might have more intrinsic than, say, a more senior level person that's more extrinsic. So understand how your folks are motivated. Very, very important to how to drive them to do more. So you might have to adjust your conversations or how you work with them. In some cases, compensation. They want different things. So we assess for that, and it's important for us to pass that along to the business owners and managers in terms of how they interact with their salespeople. The other thing I find that has worked for me is consistency. Salespeople are motivated by consistency. So what do I mean by that? They want some clarity. They want to know what they're there for. What's the purpose of this job? And how do I succeed at this job? What does success look like? It was easy 20 years ago to say what success looked like because it looked like the number. Okay, here's your quota of $1 million. If you do $1,001, you've succeeded. If you do $1 less than $1 million, you failed. Hey, how's that for clarity? Okay, it's not the way it is anymore. They want a plan from you that shows the path to success. They want a very clear picture on what that looks like. And beyond that, once you put that in place and you create the clear picture, they want you to follow through on what you said you're going to do. They want to know that you have their back. They don't want any of this ambiguity or middle of the road stuff, or the company that makes a decision every time something pops up. I say pops up. Every time something pops up, we have to make a decision. Who gets paid, whose account this is, how we're going to handle this. Obviously, there's strategizing that goes on. Oftentimes, companies don't have anything in writing. They don't have anything in place to help their teams. So they just wing it. And every time something comes up and they're confronted with that, they have to make a decision. They play judge, jury. I used to say Judge Judy. Boom, they come in, they make a decision. Sales reps need to know. If you want to motivate your salespeople, you need to know what motivates them. Well, it's good to know whether they're intrinsic or extrinsic, because if you're dangling this carrot of dollars in front of them and telling them if they fail, they're going to get fired, and they're intrinsically motivated, it's not going to do a whole lot for you or them. And the reverse. So you need to know that. One of the things you can do as a business owner and manager is provide that clarity, provide that consistency and follow through, to know that you have their back, that you support their effort in the field. if they know what to do and how to do it to succeed, they're going to be in a much better place from a motivational point of view. But if you're not providing that to them, it can be very frustrating. Hence, turnover. You lose people, sometimes good people. Sometimes they don't succeed and you're happy to get rid of them. Oh, well, they didn't present the way they said they were. Well, look at yourself. Did we provide that plan? Did we provide clarity? Did we follow through? Do we have their back? Do they know exactly what they need to do day in and day out to be successful at your company? So what does all this mean? Well, in the world of intrinsic motivation, and the vast majority of people entering the sales force have intrinsic motivations, then that's a layup for you as a manager in the coaching world. Because this is exactly what you need to do to help them be successful. Okay, you put the plan in place, you create clarity, you explain to them exactly what it looks like to succeed, you have good sales process in place, good methodology, good support. Now you're in the field and you're delivering on that. You're coaching them on that. You've got their back. It allows you to lead without overmanaging. Overmanaging means you sit around and you wait for them to come in and you look at the numbers and you say you need to do this, and this by the end of this month to hit your quarterly number, blah, 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 blah. And you're calling them every day. Did you get it? Did you get it? Did they talk to you? Did you call them? Did they email you? What's happening with this account? That's overmanaging. You're getting into things that aren't going to help you. If you can effectively coach, and manage them properly, you're going to motivate them through the intrinsic motivation, right? It's easy because this is what they want to do. They want to be the best of the best. They want to have some higher purpose. They want to love what they're doing. It's bigger than them. So if you're coaching to that, you're creating success. It allows you to do the one thing that you need to do to motivate, and that's lead. If your part of your role is to manage them closely, and you should, coaching takes the overmanagement off the table. Coaching provides you with insights to everything you need to see, and it hits the motivation button. Puts them right where they need to be. I hope this makes sense to you because it does to me. It's simple. Sales reps are either intrinsic or extrinsic or a combination of both. We're finding from the data that there's more intrinsic than extrinsic, especially with millennials. Last 10 years, people entering the workforce see sales as something that they want to become very good at. They see it as a higher purpose, bigger than themselves. It's the company, it's the team, it's giving back. And they're looking to you for clarity. They're looking for you to provide them purpose. They're looking for you to show them how to succeed and what success looks like. And they're looking for you to support them in that endeavor. All of that leads to really good coaching. If you can find a way to become good at that, laying the foundation of what we just talked about, you're in a really good spot. Now you just need to go hire the right people and onboard them and all that good stuff and bring them right through the process. And you'll find people stick around a lot longer because they know the grass isn't always greener somewhere else, that you've created that higher purpose for them. You're supporting their efforts. You have their back. And they can go have a beer with all of their friends and talk about their managers. Birds of a feather. A lot of my friends are sales people, because that's where I came from. They talk. You know, some guys are and women are blowhards, right? They tell you about how great everything is because they never want to say anything negative about their company. But most are pretty honest. So what are they saying when you're not around? Are you providing that level of support and coaching and motivation? Those are questions you need to ask yourself. And if you're not, it's never, never too late to change. Thank you for subscribing to The Funnel, alignment-group.com/The Funnel. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter @ShayJohnR, and of course I'm on LinkedIn. Contact me, jshay at alignment-group.com. And yes, I do respond to all of my emails. I don't have somebody else do it for me, and there's a lot of them. Takes a while. That's okay. Keep them coming. Website is alignment-group.com. Again, thank you for subscribing, and as always, keep filling the funnel.